Generation X is this next big wave with 32% of the remodeling homeowners being them. But then we also have millennials coming of age and gaining some share in that model. And the one interesting fact about them, it would be them being digital natives. So they do expect this tech driven aspect everywhere in their lives.
Yeah.
For them before was always being able to use technology to get things streamlined. Utilizing technology is not just optional, it's already essential.
This episode of Professional Builders Secrets is brought to you by Apparatus Contractor Services. Apparatus provides full scope, end-to-end QuickBooks precision construction accounting and CFO services for residential builders. If you feel like you can't completely trust your weekly and monthly financial reports, or you feel like you're flying blind, Apparatus will rebuild and operate your QuickBooks accounting system and give you precision construction accounting capability you can trust. Learn more at apparatusteam.com or on the APB Rewards partner directory. Professional Builders Secrets live from IBS. I'm here with Marine Sargsyan.
You are.
Did I
Yes,
get
you
that
are.
right?
You did get it right.
From Houzz. So, do you want to tell me a bit about what you do at Houzz?
I would love to. And hello, so excited to be here. My name is Marine Sargsyan, and I lead economic research efforts at Houzz. Our core product at Houzz is Houzz Pro, which is a project management tool and a software for designers and builders alike. It allows them to do everything for their business, manage their projects, have client communications ready to go, as well as process their payments and invoicing and all of that. My favorite thing at Houzz to do is to dig into the data, understand the business activity, learn about the design trends that homeowners are incorporating into their homes, and of course, sharing that data with our community. And that's exactly why I'm so excited to be here today.
I'm very excited to have you on.
Thank
And
you.
you've been speaking at IBS as well. What have you been talking on in your presentations?
I had two incredible presentations with IBS's educational sessions. Those are always fun. I got to share our design trends for kitchens and bathrooms, as well as outdoor living. And then we also covered extensively how pros can stay relevant in this uncertain economic times by leveraging technology or making sure that their touch points with clients are always building trust, because there is a lot of discussion on how to keep your customers happy and also make sure that they come back.
Okay, great. Well, Houzz has partnered with us on our State of Residential Construction Industry report, but you do a lot of your own research as well, and you lead all of that. I'm sure you've got a great idea around all the data that's coming in. I'd love to pick your brain around remodeling trends, but can you first tell me a little bit more about the research you do?
Of course. I loved partnering with you guys, so it was an incredible partnership for us as well. We do our research as well. We have I'm for our research. I'm leveraging our 70 million of homeowners and design enthusiasts, as well as on the pro side, we have 3 million professionals on Houzz. So being able to leverage that data for my research has been incredible. In our research, what we are seeing is that homeowners tell us that they are very much motivated by having the time to do these remodels and
Okay.
also having the money. So, in fact, 40% tell us that having the time to finally do these remodels are a big component as a motivation. A similar share also talks about having the financial means to do so. Personalization is a big motivator for homeowners. They are trying to make sure that they personalize their newly purchased homes. And, this speaks volume of how homeowners are not just moving in when they purchase a home, they really try to make it truly their own. And, I cannot not talk about the fact that the housing stock in the US is already 42 years old, so
Yeah.
in median. So what that means half of the homes are older than that. So what it means for homeowners is that they need to make sure that they modernize their homes, and upkeep is a big component as a motivator. I think, in fact, 20% of homeowners tell us that they had to upgrade their home due to the damage that happened due to the age of the home.
Okay. And then there's obviously natural disasters and all sorts of things that
Of
play into
course,
that.
and unfortunately, one of them was too close to home for us
Yeah.
with the LA wildfires. But natural disaster is also a big component, as well as, changes to the lifestyle, whether it's working remotely or growing your family
Yeah.
or addressing special needs for household members.
I guess that's just trends in general in society that homeowners need to adapt to if they want to resell or anything like that.
I completely agree. This is a trend that is true for any industry, and anyone trying to stay successful and relevant will need to kind of keep an eye on it.
From a consumer's perspective, are you seeing it trend more towards remodeling over building from scratch, building new homes?
Oh, that's an interesting question, because mostly what my research is covering is residential remodel and renovations for the existing homes. So that would be the primary focus,
Yeah.
without going into whether they build or not. But again, the number one activity that we are seeing in the industry as a whole is upgrading the existing housing stock.
Okay. Okay. Can you talk a little bit more about the motivations? You
Mhm.
mentioned them, I think, briefly before around having the time and price and budget, I think it was, to remodel. Can you talk more about those motivations and why you think they've come more important now?
Of course, I would love to. And I would try to break it down by generation for our listeners and
Okay.
us, so that, it makes it a little bit more clear that for younger generations, such as millennials, having the, prioritizing home is a big component. It's one of the top motivators. They're trying to make sure that the house they bought is truly reflecting what they
Yeah.
wanted for themselves. For Gen Xers, it would be trying to bring in the financial means. So they are in the stage of their lives where they can where they have multiple priorities, so
Mm.
that they are trying to make sure that home improvement is still happening while not hindering any other activities that they might have for their family. And for baby boomers and older generations, the biggest motivator is, I finally have the time. I can bring those projects to life because now I have this financial stability and have the time to go and embark on those projects. And all of this fuels the remodeling activity. What it means is that if you are talking to a millennial, you know how to approach them in terms of helping them to personalize their space. If you are discussing the projects with a Gen X, you talk about how to make sure that they are within the budget or are aware of
Mm.
certain costs or cost increases. And for the baby boomers, clearly stating what the project is going to intake and then what the scheduling is going to be like for that.
One thing we've seen, particularly in Australia, and I think it's probably had a similar impact in North America as well, is because mortgage rates have been so high in recent years. New home buyers that are coming into the market for the first time, they may buy a home that needs some work on it, and therefore they will look to budget for remodeling rather than buying a home out of the box, which they love. Is that something you see as well?
100%. That's a huge shifter in the industry. Homeowners are not able to find a home for two reasons, actually. One is there is a major shortage of housing stock in the US nationally.
Yeah.
And second of all, the mortgage rates have been so high in a recent couple of years that it doesn't allow homeowners to move and find that perfect home that doesn't need a remodel. And this is an interesting shift, because I do see that 60% of renovating homeowners tell us that they are planning on staying in their homes for 11 years or longer.
Okay. Wow.
That's a really long time.
Yeah.
So it's incredible to see how that also impacts the design and functionality choices that homeowners choose to bring into their homes when they remodel.
Has that grown that 11 years? Because I feel like
just in my mind, I'm thinking, 5, 10 years is probably the maximum, right?
Exactly. And you have a really good sense of it because back in 10 years ago, that number was at one third. So, only 30 something percent of homeowners were saying that they are going to stay that long in their home. But it's interesting that you brought it up because in certain regions, so for example, if I were to break down our data into specific cities in the US, you'll see that homeowners in Los Angeles or in high demand areas like the Bay Area, you'll see those remodeling homeowners are thinking 20 years to stay in their home.
Yeah.
And those shares are growing since 2020. And on the flip side, I do have regions like Austin and Houston where homeowners are saying maybe 5 years is something that I'm going to see myself live in this remodeled home. And it comes down to really the economic opportunities.
Yeah.
What's the lifestyle? What's the economic opportunity there, as well as the housing availability.
I guess if you buy a home in the Bay Area, for example, maybe that's like your forever home that you've reached a certain point. Whereas in other areas, maybe it's your first home, or you think it's a stepping stone to the next one you might be able to purchase as well.
I completely agree. And for homeowners who locked in those lower rates, it's
Yeah.
just really hard to convince them that it makes sense for them to find a new home. And also, from our research, we're seeing that homeowners sometimes really like the location that they are in, especially Gen Xers who are in the stage where they have growing families, maybe they have kids, maybe they have this work and family balance where they have good cadence for where they are, and it's really hard for them to make the decision of moving, especially when they like the location.
I may be wrong here, but I have a feeling locking in rates is different in North America than it is in Australia. For example, fixed rate mortgages in Australia, typically you would have a maximum of around 5 years on a fixed rate mortgage. It would be a 30-year loan, but you would move to a variable rate after that. But in North America, you lock it in for the entire loan. Is that
we
right?
you do lock it in for the entire 30 years,
Yeah.
so this is a big
I wouldn't be
component
moving
in
if I
our
was on a
industry.
2% or something like that, right?
I hear you for
Yeah,
sure.
that's crazy. Just to go back to how those trends impact pros and how they engage with their customers and things like that, do you think those generational preferences are something which will always be there, or is there certain related to the certain times and trends at the time?
Sure. So let me break it down a little bit for the listeners and us to kind of discuss this in various way. For right now, we know that the biggest share of renovating homeowners are baby boomers.
Okay.
And Generation X is this next big wave with 32% of the remodeling homeowners being that. But then we also have millennials coming of age and gaining some share in that model. So what it ends up being is that current pros, whether they are seasoned or if they are just starting out, they are so much used to having baby boomers or Gen Xers as their clients. It's a little bit of a shift for them to also consider millennials as their
Mm,
potential clients. However, I would argue that it's absolute imperative to make sure that we are also positioned in such ways that we are able to assist and engage millennials as well. They are, after all, a large cohort. They
yeah.
will be making inroads for being the largest generations to remodel. And the one interesting fact about them, it would be them being digital natives. So they do expect this tech driven aspect everywhere in their lives. They are able to order same day delivery, they are able to book a vacation on their phone at their
Mm,
fingertips. And they kind of expect that without thinking about, well, what was it like before?
yeah.
For them before was always being able to use technology to get things streamlined. So this is exactly why in my presentations, I always tell the pro community as well as designers that utilizing technology is not just optional, it's already essential to be able to cater to this new generation that is coming up.
Yeah, that's really important, and especially for older builders, whether in if they're older than millennials, at least in Gen X or baby boomers, they need to understand and adapt to understanding what they work like. And technology is a huge part of that. The other part is, and there might be an opportunity for pros to focus on the millennial market as their niche specialization. Is it big enough to do that?
I think it's never early to start because you never know when they are gonna pick, and then how really millennials are impacting the decision making in this industry. We are seeing a lot more of multi generational livings when millennials will be living with older generations, but being the decision maker in the household. So that's also another consideration. And you mentioned for pros to adopt in 2024 report that we have released very recently with Houzz Research, we are seeing that a lot of pros tell us that they already have this technology sitting in their business. It just they need to finally have the time to invest in learning how to use it. So investing that extra time, upskilling um, your colleagues and your teammates is
Mm,
also something that we are seeing that pros are already doing, but then they potentially going into the future will be doing a lot more frequently.
that's interesting. I've heard from other software providers a similar challenge in terms of adoption of the software once they have it in place. What are House doing to bridge that gap for new pros that are using House Pro?
Right. For House, what I find incredible is that it's an all in one solution. You can really do everything with House. And we do have incredible ways of helping pros to learn in different ways. If it's by reading an article, you have that option. If you would like to see a demo, we do have multiple options of those, as well as a lot of ways of just engaging with our teams of trying to really make it easy enough for you to be able just to pick it up. And at the end of the day, we do hear what our clients have to say. We do take their feedback to heart and try to build it in such user friendly way to ultimately help their success, because that's really what House is about for the industry right now.
And I know you mentioned off air that last year was about the software, so there's been a lot of improvements.
For sure.
Okay, back to the topic at hand,
Uh-huh.
remodeling trends. What are some of the rooms or most popular areas of the home to remodel at the moment?
Yeah. So it's not a secret that kitchen and bathrooms are the stars of the home remodel, right?
Okay.
But what I really wanted to emphasize and what is really interesting is the fact that these room upgrades come hand in hand with home system upgrades within the homes, such as like electrical,
Okay.
plumbing, as well as heating and all of that. So it has been incredible to see that. And goes back to the point where I mentioned that some of the homes in the US are really old. And if I break down the data by age of the home, you'll see that homes built before 2000 require a widespread spread home system upgrades. Homeowners, whether they tackle their kitchen project or bathroom project, a huge share of them, almost everyone, it's like 80% or more, are also upgrading their systems within those rooms. And if you look at the homes that were built after 2000, the system upgrades shift from being interior, they go to the outdoor. So then homeowners are upgrading their outdoor spaces as well as outdoor systems. And this can be irrigation, security, or as simple as lighting. So it really, depending on the age of the home, it really matters what it is that you remodel
Mm.
and where it is that you remodel. And home systems have been a really supplement and complementary project that homeowners are really thinking about as they embark on their kitchen and bathroom remodels.
Do the external remodels add as much value to a home as the internal remodels, like the kitchens and bathrooms?
Kitchen and bathrooms are the
Yeah.
showstoppers when it comes to it. It's the biggest focal point. But this goes without saying that the curb appeal is another aspect.
Yeah.
There was so much interest into the outdoor design trends, and we launched our inaugural report last year. And clearly shows that homeowners are focusing on their exteriors, on their beautiful lawns,
Yeah.
bringing in this really incredible lighting to just make sure that it's a cohesive look with their indoor and outdoor. And my absolute favorite is the exterior door upgrades when people inject some sort of pop of color into their
Yeah.
exterior
Like
spaces
the
as well.
door or something like that.
Exactly.
That's very
It's so
common.
creative.
Yeah.
I do see that a lot.
Okay. Okay. Taking a slight shift to the experience of remodeling a home. So I believe you have some research and data around the challenges that homeowners face when they're going through remodeling. I mean, it's a complicated process for pros.
I know everyone from builders to designers, from homeowners, everyone is on the same page
Yeah.
about the fact that there is a lot of challenges when it comes to upgrading the home. And, a majority of those challenges come from three things, really. And homeowners tell us that it's really non negotiable for you. Those are building trust, being able to communicate well, and have transparency. So, those pros who can actually engage the homeowners in a way to build trust,
Mm.
provide financial transparency into the cost as well as the estimates, and then be able to be really responding to the homeowners needs, whether it's communication or whether it's just showing up.
Yeah.
Will just separate them, and like they can stand out by that type of attitude and behavior as well as a business practice. To kind of bring in some personal note, I did remodel our kitchen a couple of years ago. And those challenges are real. I
Yeah.
was just reading about them in my research and sharing with everyone. But then once it happens to you, it just becomes so much real. And for me, the budget constraints were always top of mind. But
Mm.
but then what became the most stressful part of it was the uncertainty. I wasn't sure if they'll show up. I wasn't sure if there'll be delays. I didn't know whether there's going to be some sort of a hidden cost or any of that. And, just having a contractor who was very diligent about, understanding what I'm going through and just letting me know that, your cabinet person is coming in at 2 p.m. Be ready for someone who will take out the trash at this other PM.
Mm.
Laborers are coming in, the stone people are coming in, your flooring professional is there for you to meet them, was such an incredible thing, and it went a long way. And there are a lot of things that can go wrong in during construction of nobody's fault, right?
Yeah.
But just having the trustworthy contractor who you can lean into builds this huge trust. Let me give you the statistics. Businesses on our research tell us that 70% or more of their projects is coming from word of mouth and repeat clients.
Mm.
That's incredible number to me. So being able to build that trust from the get-go and deliver the product and then complete this job in meaningful way, and where you part ways in very pleasant terms, goes a long way. And you can do all of those things with already existing technology by being really open to the client needs as well.
This might be a sidetrack, so I won't go into this topic, but the topic of relying on referrals and word of mouth is something the data recommends that you don't do, because statistically, building companies that don't rely as heavily on referrals because they have paid marketing and everything like that, are more profitable. So because they're getting more interest in. But I mean, that's not to say that it's not important to build trust and all of that kind of stuff.
That's so interesting you said that. And then businesses do all of those things. They have paid marketing, they reach out to their existing clients, but then also engage new clients. But a lot of times they find themselves in a situation where either a client comes back or they nudge someone to. But then building back to the generations that we discussed, that might have been really true about baby boomers and Gen Xers reaching out their friends, families, or communities,
that's true.
but might not be so true about millennials when they come become
Interesting.
the larger share of the remodeling market. So it's always good to diversify to make sure that you are relevant to the newer generation as well.
Yeah, I think you just need a multi
Of
channel
course.
approach. So you're protecting your business. So if
Exactly.
there
And
is
it's,
a downfall in referrals, yeah, then you've got other opportunities as well.
of course,
Yeah,
100%. And it's true about any other industry out there. If
of
you are a
course.
business, and diversification is number one key.
What else can builders or pros change to better engage with that new generation coming through?
Going back to the point where being open to their client needs, leveraging technology to be able to address a lot of the challenges, to be able to streamline some of the operations so that it's not, hindering any of their work. Being able to communicate with their team members as well to make sure that nothing is falling through the cracks, and finally, just trying to be mindful of how much homeowners are investing in their homes, and that might be one of the biggest ticket items in their lifetime after purchasing that home.
Yeah, of course. Great advice. Where do you see this going in the next 12 to 18 months? Do you see what trends do you see coming out from the remodeling space?
So let me tell you what businesses tell me, and
Okay.
then I'll tell you what design trends
Okay.
I'm seeing on our end, and then I'll wrap it up there because my personal take, I don't know if it matters that much, but I'm just kidding. What businesses tell us is they are so optimistic about 2025, and we already talked about that offline. They are letting us know that they are expecting 2025 to be an incredible year. They're
Yeah.
expecting huge growth in their revenues. Some of them are telling us that demand has been so resilient and they know they're going to be able to secure projects. Some of our quarterly data that is really tracking the business activity is also pointing to a similar direction. So in the next couple months, businesses are really expecting the business activity to pick up, especially compared to quarter 4 of 2024. On the design side, what we are seeing, in the interest of time, I'm just going to kind of give you the three top things that I see in both kitchen and bathroom remodels. So one of them will be homeowners do bring pop of colors, really bold colors into both their kitchens and bathrooms. And these colors are typically green or blue.
Okay.
It's interesting to see. You mentioned exterior doors as a pop of color, and the red would be the
Yeah.
choice of that contrast that homeowners bring into their homes. Um, for the bathroom and kitchen remodels, we are seeing a lot of mix and matching, and people do that with styles, textures, as well as materials. And that kind of gives a very unique look and personalized look into their bathrooms and kitchens. And finally, what we are seeing is that homeowners are upgrading their homes for the future. They are addressing whatever they currently need, but then they are also prioritizing their future needs as well, because it can be as simple as accessibility issues that they anticipate to arise sometime in next 5 years. So they are really making sure that they are, with these renovations, they are not only addressing the current needs but also the future needs.
Interesting. Are you seeing where's energy efficiency fall into this priority list?
So sustainability is a huge component of
Yeah.
design for kitchens and bathrooms. And what was incredible for me to see is that how cost effectiveness of the energy efficiency, as well as the durability of some of the energy efficient items in your household, can align perfectly with a bigger picture of climate and environmental factors. So being able to align those things, it does come out in our kitchen and bathroom studies as well. Energy efficient appliances are a
Mm.
big hit when homeowners are installing new appliances into their kitchens after the remodels, and water efficient faucets and appliances for the bathroom is another big hit for homeowners when they are upgrading their bathrooms.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing all those trends today, Marnie.
Oh, thank you
And
so much for having me. It's a pleasure for me to chat and get a
I
sentence
feel like we were
out.
just
And it's
having
like,
this intense personal conversation the whole time. So it was really enjoyable for me. And you've
likewise,
got so many great insights to share. So thank you for coming on the show today.
thank you so much for having me here. Really, truly appreciate it.
And for everyone at home listening on, check out House Pro, of course. We'll put a link in the show notes.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Great. Well, good luck for your presentation this afternoon.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you saying
Cool.
that. And good luck with the secrets of the builders.
Yeah, thank you.